all a big shuffle, cut and deal, and all the smart players got a way to steal. If you're a believer, you'll find out fast, like life and you pick up, nothing's made to last. Used cars,
Welcome to Navtastic, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandes, and...
Hi, I'm Chris Jayawardena, and I would love to see you in this Buick. Now, you know, this baby here has only got 37,000 miles on it. It's got a fantastic new finish. We put a new coat of paint on it. We also got ourselves some nice new lining on the inside. Steering's a little wobbly there, but that's how you know it's good American-made automobile. Now, those tires, don't worry about those tires here. There's nothing to worry about. The car accident, you can't even tell anymore because of the fact that we put a new chassis on top of the old chassis, and then we just kind of put this other shell on top of that. And, yeah, don't worry about that. Also, just get in the car and pay me the $70,000 and just get the fuck off my lot.
Please ignore the blood in the back seat. We're about to review Used Cars. Wonderful film, directed by Robert Zemeckis, written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. Classic 1980s flick. Very much a raunchy comedy, and it's a cult classic.
Yeah, it was. This was another one of the ones that was voted on by our wonderful Twitter and YouTube followers. Yes. This was specifically. I think this was before we hit 100 followers on Twitter, right? That was what I think this milestone was, or 150 maybe?
It was 150, yes.
Yeah, and so, yeah, we decided, hey, let's do another one of these special episodes, and we had some more votes, and we were kind of surprised this one, a little bit surprised, because we had Spinal Tap on this particular list, didn't we?
Yeah. We had Spinal Tap and the extended Spinal Tap specials, which would be, you've already seen Spinal Tap. We watched Spinal Tap, the Spinal Tap reunion concerts, and the special that they did, and the film that the test film that they shot. So
right, yeah, I remember watching about 20 minutes of the test film, yeah. Or 15 minutes of it, yes. That's pretty good.
That would have been a thing that we would do. We might do it in the future. God only knows, but we'll see. Anyway.
Well, we'll see. My work might be starting to get a little more intense next year, so we'll see. Fingers crossed. But anyway, though, so I am super excited though for this for multiple reasons. The first of which, I actually had seen parts of this movie on cable as a early teenager. I was like 12 to 14 years old. Yes. And sneaking late night peeks at movies you're not supposed to on late night television, and as a kid of the 90s do. And not only that, I am a movie guy. We talk about this on our usual Night After Night podcast. It's usually about the 8 seasons in a row. But here, this is my territory. We got Bob Zemeckis. We got Bob Gale. We got executive producers Steven Spielberg and John Walter Sobchak Milius. Oh, baby. You got Kurt Russell and Gerrit Graham, Jack Walden. Even got Frank McRae. Rest in peace, old man. And I'm looking forward to talk about this one.
Yeah, I figured you would be. This is a wonderful little, very snarky little comedy. It's very snarky. It pretty much takes the idea and the notion of selling used cars and compares it and conflates it with politics. Because Rudy Russo, our central character, wants to go into politics. But at the moment he's selling used cars.
And there's a particularly interesting agnosticism, like an agnostic perspective about the party system, which is really cool. I think, especially to coming to this now 40 plus years later, because when I was growing up, when I was, and I very much had the sense of the two-party system and had this understanding of that. And as the last, about the last two election cycles, especially of, not two election cycles, sorry, the last, the last 2 to 3 presidents, seeing the Democrats, the liberal side, and how, there's aspects of Obama's administration that was more hawkish, the drone strikes and things like that, and realizing that they weren't the peaceniks that they kind of tried to act like sometimes, certain degrees of hypocrisy. I mean, this is a common thing that's brought up politically, right? Is the whole, we say there's 2 parties, but there's not really 2 parties. I love that this film just outright says it in a way that only a dark comedy that's trying to make you laugh can do it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. They hammer Carter here, but they're also hammering Republican greed and the Watergate recent past and the upcoming Reagan-laden future back then, which was about to happen for this just after this movie got released. So they are
That's
very
right. This was Oh.
Yeah, I think this came out. I think this came out in. I think this might have come out before Reagan was inaugurated in 1980. I can't remember though. I'm not
So
entirely
it
sure.
was. So I looked it up. Came out in, I believe, mid-July of 1980.
Okay, yeah, he was
We'll
already
get
in
to this.
office then.
Right. We're going to get to this a bit, but basically the short version of kind of what happened was that there even is there's a line that's referencing the Iranian hostage crisis,
Yes, yes.
and they apparently had alternate versions ready to go
Huh.
in case that was passé, and it was still going on when the film was released, so they kept it
dear. Oh dear, man, that was going on forever too. Going on absolutely forever. That's what pretty much tanked Carter's presidency, I think.
Absolutely. That's pretty much what I've heard. That and the fact that he basically got blamed for a lot of the stuff Nixon's party, in his administration did.
Yeah, the gas crisis, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's what tends to happen.
It's what tends to happen. We try not to get political on this show, but unfortunately, it's going to be a little unavoidable here. And I mean, it's a pretty common cycle. Yeah. It's when you look at history, this is what happens.
Yep. We went over that idea, and no, it's the same idea. It's the same idea. It's the same idea. It's the same idea. It's like Eddie Izzard talking about how World War II happened and how colonialism happened. Do you have a flag? That's absolutely what politics still feels like all these years later.
Yeah. I thought World War II happened because of the fact that we enjoyed the first one so much we decided to have another one. Thank you, Squiggy, for that one.
Yeah, I love that line. David and Michael are great in this. We'll get to them in a bit. So, Kurt Russell's performance in this movie, what do you think?
I love it. It's this. What's kind of cool is, again, growing up, I was a big Kurt Russell fan. I've been a big Kurt Russell fan since I was about 9 and saw the poster for Escape from L.A.
Yes.
And started seeing his other movies that he had been in shortly after that. So like Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah. And there was a film I saw with him in it. I'm going to look up his filmography because I think it's one of those films you see when you're a kid and you watch it a ton. And I'm like totally have forgotten it now.
Tango and Cash?
I was familiar with Tango and Cash. I had seen that. I'd seen bits of Tombstone, on TV. Stargate, that's what it was.
Oh, Stargate, yeah.
Yeah, because I saw him I saw it in the theater. I remember seeing like a 1 month early advanced screening of it. I freaking loved him. I mean, that was a good movie. It's one of my favorite Roland Emmerich films. Yeah, actually, no. Universal Soldier, I still prefer. Anyway, so yeah, he's great. What I love about Kurt, I remember us talking about this, is he captures the speed of the salesman. That's challenging to maintain.
Yes, he's really good. He's really good at this. He gets that fast patter. He knows how to razzle dazzle them. And he also balances it his skeezy side and his more avaricious side with this tender side that comes out when he starts falling for Barbara Jean later in El Film.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. As we go on, just the way that she softens him, it really works. And that was, I think, what helped Kurt in his career making that transition from a child actor into more of an adult actor and being able to be in, like, say, he'd already done the Elvis biopic with John Carpenter, and he was probably just about to go run off and do Escape from New York when this came out. Yeah. What's cool about Kurt is he made it very clear that as an adult actor, he wanted to play his characters that might be a little rough. They might be a little, blue collar. Yeah. They're a bit of a cowboy, but they're good people. Yeah. And deep down, like, they mean well. They just might be clouded by rage or idiocy or greed or some, even overboard.
Grouchiness.
Yeah,
Overboard.
exactly.
I was just thinking about Overboard and Dean Prophet. One of the cardinal hallmark movies of my childhood. I don't know what that says about me. Also, but yeah. That's one of the reasons I have a huge soft spot for him and Goldie Hawn.
Yeah. God. I haven't watched it since I was about 10. So
goodness.
I was 10 or 11. So there's a good chance that, because I remember you reviewed it. It was one of the first movie reviews of yours I read.
Yes. Yes.
God, like almost. Oh, thankfully it wasn't 10 years ago. It was 7 years ago.
Back when I had a blog.
Yeah, when you had the blog and you were revisiting these classics from the 80s and seeing how well they age, and like Dirty Dancing did really well, and Overboard on the other hand was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a great straight out of the, from frame one, it's a movie. It's got this great Spielbergian opening shot. Zemeckis going hard in the atmosphere. I mean, my note is like, look at me, I'm a director, baby. That's what it feels like when you're trying to prove yourself. This is a movie with stuff to prove and just this verve and fearlessness.
Yes.
And it comes out in Kurt. It comes out in all the other characters, the way they introduce the antagonist. It's got this wonderful sardonic sense of humor. I love that, like, people live there. Like, it's sort of implied that Garrett Graham's character and Frank McRae and the owner, they all just live on the lot.
Yeah, pretty much. They're all just living on this lot, living this lifestyle, soaking in and marinating in it 24 hours a day. They are filled with paint and charm and grease and lies, and the camera captures all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that when we think about what Kurt Russell did as he transitioned from doing stuff as a child actor, doing stuff as a teenager, and then becoming an adult, he actually did Silkwood before this. Just imagine that. He's Silkwood a couple years.
Silkwood came after.
It did? Jesus
it did.
Christ. Sheriff Fu is weak. Oh no. Gasp.
Hey, it's my turn to gasp. Usually it's you that gasps me. Wow, I need to see this movie. So here's the.
Yet?
I have never seen Silkwood, and here comes your time to gasp. I did not know what this film even was. I knew the title. I did not know Kurt was in it. Now that I know, it is a Mike Nichols co-written by Nora Ephron movie based on a book and a real case with Meryl, Cher, Kurt Russell, Craig T. Nelson, Fred Ward, and Ron fucking Silver, and Bruce McGill, and Emmett Walsh, David Strathairn, Will Patton.
Yeah. It is about an actual union woman. This is about Karen Silkwood. She ended up finding out that there was corruption going on at the nuclear plant where she worked.
This one, okay, I have heard of this story. Okay, this one. Now I know which one this is. I've actually seen parts of this on cable around the same time I watched parts of used cars.
And then she died in a car accident that's considered suspicious to my son.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was run off the road, or she went off the highway, and they couldn't determine if she fell asleep or if someone pit maneuvered her right into off the road.
And
because since she was headed to go speak with the journalists about this whole thing, people went,
Yeah, that definitely raises an eyebrow or two.
Yep. It's a fabulous film. I love that film.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch it. But yeah, it looks like, though, yes, it was. Looking about there's production notes. Yeah, it was shot in '82. So he probably did this one just after he did The Thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's a hot streak.
Yeah, because he does. So his hot streak is Used Cars, Escape from New York, The Fox, the Hound, The Thing, Silkwood, Swing Shift. Okay, and then he gets down a little bit. Swing Shift, Mean Season, Best of Times, then Big Trouble in Little China, Overboard, Tequila Sunrise, Winter People is kind of his sort of miss, Tango and Cash, and then Backdraft at 91. So that's like a 10, 11-year span.
Yeah, a lot of hits. He had a lot of hits, and he deserves all that success.
He does.
So, okay, now we must move on and look at our other main characters here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the Fuck Brothers?
You mean the Fuchs brothers? Yeah.
I see your spellings in that because I know what you're going for.
Yeah, we saw that. We both picked up the B.J. Fuchs name for the daughter too.
Yeah. Classy, my dude.
And I mean, there's even isn't there a van for a television network later called KFUK? So it's K-Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, this is in case you haven't figured it out. Yes, this is an explicit episode. It's an R-rated movie. This movie got titties. Come on, we're gonna be talking about that stuff.
So many bare boobs, just boobs everywhere. Is like boobs.
It's almost John Landis to this point.
Yeah.
To that point, yeah, it's almost John Landis.
Kinda. It's like a note of Animal House, but not really. Kind of a tiny note of Animal House.
But yeah, Jack is fantastic as both, as Luke and as Royale, which it took me a bit to catch Royale.
Yeah, Royale.
And then Luke, like, biblical name, so it's more humble. It's the imagery and style and a whole, like, the big corporate / political versus the underdog blue collar worker, laborman. Like, I love the change of that. And my understanding from the trivia I was reading, because I did do some research on this, probably just because I really enjoyed the movie, that it was actually, apparently Jack didn't want to do the part, but what they did was they got him to agree to it, because I think they were given the advice, the two of them were given the advice to approach him with, they either want to die or play twins or some sort of thing like that. And so they got them both in the process. It's something to that extent.
There you go.
Y'all can look it up. I'm going to be trying to not just be going off verbatim what's on the IMDb trivia page. You don't tune in for that crap. You can just go do that in your own time.
That's neat. That's actually neat. That's how they reeled him in. And then instead of playing no parts, he played two. There you go.
Yeah, so that was because I guess they wanted him, and he wasn't sure about it. He wasn't, because they wanted him for Luke, it sounds like, specifically, and they were like, let's get you both. So yeah. But yeah, it's great, archetypes. And then we get Garrett Graham as Jeff, Mr. Lucky.
Yes.
You go ahead and take this one.
I love Gerrit Graham. He's so great. He is probably most familiar to audiences as Beef in Phantom of the Paradise. He did a bunch of other little parts. He was obviously in Laverne and Shirley. Popping up in the dance studio.
Mm-hmm.
And he is really marvelous. He's really freaking marvelous. He's a great character actor, and I don't believe he didn't get to do more.
Yep. It's like he's one of those guys that's like been around, but it's often he's in TV shows that are based on movies rather than in the movies themselves, which feels like this feels weird.
Yeah.
He is Franklin Sherman in The Critic.
That's right. He is indeed.
I'm looking up his. See here now. I'm actually looking up his IMDb. But when you consider, this is a guy who worked with Robert Zemeckis, Brian De Palma, and oh god, where's the other one? There was another. It's from Demon. He was in Demon Seed. So he worked with Donald Cammell.
No way.
I mean, admittedly, Donald Cammell is not like, giant rock star or anything like that, but the dude was the co-director of performance, for fuck's sake. I mean, come on. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he worked with these. So Garrett Graham works with these actors and these directors, I should say, and he doesn't get, in my opinion, he doesn't get the career he definitely deserves. So I don't know. I mean, he was Bud the Chud,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's a guy that deserves more.
Bud the Chud, he was. That's right. Damn good in that movie too. He did deserve more. Yeah, a lot of great cult roles, but he deserved more leads.
Yeah.
More interesting things. Yeah. He's really great in this. And then we have our mechanic.
Yes, Frank McRae as I believe it is. God dang it, I had the name. Something mechanic. Jim. That's right, Jim the mechanic. So now here comes the part where I get to blow people's minds a little bit in case they never knew about this, because I didn't know about this, and it's one of those like, oh, that's weird. I looked up Frank McRae. Again, rest in peace. He passed away, unfortunately, this past year in 2021. In April at the age of 80. So he had a decent long life and, had worked on a whole bunch of different projects. But in 1984, he is credited as working on Used Cars, TV movie, 1984. It's a pilot for a TV series based on the movie. And it was going to have, so him, Deborah Harmon as Barbara, and Michael Talbot as Mickey were the only, I think, cast members that were going to be returning.
Things I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That is neat. That is so neat.
Yeah. Now there's there's even proof of it with a clipping that you can find on the IMDb page. But yeah, Frank McRae, it's a small part, as the mechanic, but he's a lot of fun. He gets some really good moments. He gets some good physical comedy. The whole gag of him always falling asleep and like progressively more and more dangerous things in the garage is really funny. And I love that was really him smashing through that door when he chases after the dog.
Okay, that's cool. The dog, by the way, is also a great actor.
Toby Toby is precious. Toby's precious. My mother kept Yes. My mother kept like getting defensive of like it's like Toby, you be nice to Toby. You be careful of him.
Don't kill Toby.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's this is one of those fantastic introductory sequences though that really establishes the world, the characters. It's just got all these details. The gum, the resetting the miles as like that is our first impression of everything. It's so good. And then the introduction of the plant, which is going to come in later, with the Manuel's used cars, finders keepers. Yeah, do you want to let the audience there know who this actor is and what he played in other movies?
You go for it, because I'm blanking.
Okay.
I did not take that notes.
So Manuel, who brings in these used cars, and you pretty much realize probably most of these vehicles are stolen. Most of them are stolen, finders keepers.
Yeah.
That is Alfonso Arrau. Now, I initially was introduced to him as the second in command from Wild Bunch. He was the second. He was, I think, the lieutenant for Mapache, General Mapache.
Yeah.
And in 1986, the year I was born, the film came out with him as El Guapo and
that's
Three Amigos.
Yep, that's why I know him as. I just didn't have me for the notes, but I do know he have what better than that. Yeah, that's what I remember him from. He's really good in that movie. Who the hell are you?
It's a sweater.
It's a sweater. That whole freaking party scene. Oh my god.
Oh my god, the birthday. Yeah. Oh. But Alfonso Arrau, I mean, I definitely love the El Guapo character more than Manuel because, oh my god, this character did not age well as a racist stereotype. He starts asking if you want girls, and you begin to realize, oh my god, this guy is probably pimping out underage girls. Like it's heavily implied. You don't see any of them on his property, so he's probably full of crap and not actually being truthful about it. Like he probably and it's probably like it's like some like second or third cousin of his that just needs who's like 45 and needs some extra money on the side.
Yeah, possibly. Because Jesus, it's real.
And it keeps grabbing his crotch to the point. It's so, yep. But yeah, it's just all that spark, and then it also introduces all these characters, so well. Like it gets you, it sells who they are so fast. Like Garrett Graham coming out and following, Kurt Russell. So it's Jeff following Rudy, and Rudy passes underneath the ladder. And Jeff stops and's like, and goes around. And we were immediately introduced to this whole idea of him wanting to he avoids bad luck, like the plague. Yes. And he's got the rabbits. And he even says, it's like, it's a red car. A rabbit's foot can't beat the bad luck of a red car.
Yeah. He sees red as a bad luck color. Mm-hmm. And that becomes pivotal at the end of the movie. It becomes the thing that he must overcome. So that does come up.
And and then he's running, and we find out Rudy's running for office, and that sets up some of the political stuff that's coming. Okay, do you have in your notes? We are coming up to the scene with using the bait. He's gonna go fishing for the customer with the $100 bill and some gum. Do you remember who we recognize the actor that Kurt Russell Bates is?
Oh God, you shouted it. He was played the director. Oh shit, he played director. I think was it on Laverne and Shirley episode? He played director or something.
He was in Laverne and Shirley.
Yes.
I'll give you a clue. My favorite episode from season 2.
Gee, in Haunted House.
Yeah, it's the historian. It's the guy from the city.
Yes it is. You mentioned that when we were watching. I was like, "Oh, is this really him? That's really him." Sitting there squinting at him. I'm like, I did not recognize him at all, man.
Yeah, let's see if I can find his cast listing. If there's a Stanley Dewowski. Yeah, Beans Morocco as Dan Barrows. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, remember we mentioned like he was like in The American President and he was in one of the Police Academy movies and
Yes, we did. We were talking about all that. Definitely did.
let me just double check here because I think that's right. And he also ends. That's right. He will show up again later in Laverne and Shirley. And I wonder what became of Sal. So as a different character.
Oh, that's a cute episode.
Yeah.
Cute episode to fit in. Perfect episode.
Yep. He was in Eating Raoul, which I also still need to watch.
You haven't seen that yet?
No.
Shocked.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Bartel and Warrenov that I need to catch up on. Yeah.
Yes.
Anywho,
yes.
But yeah, so that's another good little Laverne and Shirley connection. But yeah, I love the energy that all these actors bring. I really miss good comedies like this where it was about characters. It feels like today big Hollywood comedies are just about shticks. They're not about the actors getting to play anymore.
It's about selling a trailer. It's about selling a trailer versus selling a whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, think of like the Baywatch movie, with Dwayne Johnson and what's his name, Zac Efron or whatever the heck his name is.
Yep, that's his name. That was a disaster of multiple proportions.
Right, and it's like, but part of it's also because there's no personality. It's just Dwayne Johnson being Dwayne Johnson and Zach being Zach. It's they have a shtick.
Exactly.
Come in, do your shtick, get the fuck out. And it's like, no, give them like in this movie. There's Joe Flattery who plays the corrupt district attorney in this movie, and he's that kind of guy that he's that guy. But he's been in tons of different stuff and different types of parts. He was that jeering fan in Happy Gilmore. He's the West Union man in Back to the Future Part 2.
Yes.
And that's a tense moment. It's funny, but he's creepy. That's an actor.
Yeah. He has depths, and it's nice when he does characters that have depth in them.
Mm-hmm.
And when people don't key into that kind of stuff. Dwayne Johnson actually is a fantastic character actor. So is Dave Bautista.
Mm-hmm.
They're both really good at it.
Yeah, at least Bautista's sticking to that for so far.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Dwayne Johnson did Southland Tales, and that was it. Pretty much. And now we got John Cena in there doing stuff, doing mostly comedies and like big budget stuff, and obviously he's in DCU. But yeah, you gotta do more than just say you are your public persona.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how Charlie Sheen, when he started doing the Scary Movie franchise, he was an actual character.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't build up on his public persona until the last freaking edition of it, where they just gave up. And all of a sudden he's in bed with Lindsay Lohan.
Ow.
And,
Ow.
Like, yeah.
Ow.
It's just bad. It's just bad.
Man, that is bummer. Because that's what I really enjoy about films like this is that, you have these you have essentially a bunch of great comedic character actors getting to be comedic character actors and getting to do that stuff. We're going to come to, pretty soon we're going to come to talking about Mickey, the demolition derby driver who is essentially the murderer of the movie, when the plot gets put into play and they're going to have this plot to. And Mickey is, God, that guy's got presence. Michael Talbot has got
He's
freaking
manic
screen
as hell,
presence.
and it's great. He's manic as hell, and it's great.
And it's like, and he's been in a ton of different stuff. I mean, he's been in National Lampoon. He was one of the regular detectives on Miami Vice. He was one of the deputies, it looks like, in First Blood. I haven't seen First Blood in a long time. He's in Manhunter. I mean, it's
cool.
It's like these are these are character actors that get to do character actor stuff. Anyway, we should try not. I'm going to try not to belabor these points too much. Although
more of this.
I do want to point out though that because I just looked it up. Michael Talbot was also probably recommended to the crew because of John Milius because he was in Big Wednesday. So go fig.
Well, things I didn't know. That's cool.
And so that's another thing I'm kind of curious about your take on. Zemeckis and Gale are interesting storytellers because this feels very different from a lot of the stuff they were doing, or the stuff they went on to do, I should say.
Yes, it does, very.
But at the same time, it feels still like very them from that period, like 1941 and stuff like that.
Yes, it does. They kind of managed to develop a storytelling sensation, the storytelling patois almost here. A sort of a feeling that when you watch this film, it's a little hint of where they're going to be going.
Mm-hmm.
It's only much lower budget.
Right.
And a much smaller and more character-based plot line. And you bet out to where they ended up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like, and I'm kind of curious, like with Zemeckis, like where was the turning point? Because I'm looking through his filmography here as a point of reference. Now, unfortunately, even though my parents have tried to convince me to watch it for years, I just have never gotten around to it. Romance in the Stone, another one I haven't seen.
Gasp!
And I mean, I think my parents saw that when they were dating. Like that, that was a really significant film to them.
I love that movie.
But it feels like the change when his films become bigger than him is Forrest Gump. Because before that, you have like Death Becomes Her, the Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And it feels like Gump is the point when things change, and it's like there's And I don't want to begrudge Mr. Zemeckis because he's I think he's very talented. I have a very like hit or miss feeling about a lot of his films for me, but the ones that hit really strong and I think are fantastic. It's been interesting to see that it's like there's something of the edge from this.
Yeah.
That is like you point out, like there's a certain like thing they were getting towards that budgets got bigger. Like it softened it, I guess.
Yeah. It kind of goes more commercial once you get to Forrest Gump.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is not going to become less commercial from that point on once you get to Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is very Forrest Gump. To the point where Winston Groom actually created a sequel novel just to make fun of what they did to his novel, because it's very much not like his novel. Because he originally created Forrest Gump as a kind of satire.
Oh, I see.
And the Forrest Gump movie is not a satire.
No.
Of anything at all.
It might have like a satirical joke once in a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. But it's very tender-hearted. It's also very much a weeper and very much a character portrait.
Right. Yeah, Forrest Gump definitely falls into the category of a lot of those like old Hollywood raw America propaganda films because it somehow makes the tumult of the 60s, Vietnam, Nixon, all of that somehow come off as cute rather than horrifying.
Yeah. You put it at a distance from it, and it's all okay because if Forrest survives it, so can you.
Right. And you're seeing it through the eyes of somebody that they, by the choice of the filmmakers, make him the kind of person with the neurodivergency that he's not aware of what he's experiencing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which I did even as a kid when I saw it. I had some ethical issues with that. But yeah. Anyway, that just kind of is a philosophical question that kind of comes up very quickly with this movie is how when you get to the grit, when you have this setup that, okay, so you have these two warring factions, you have the bad guy who wants the new highway to build up his business, and he's paid off all these politicians to get it to happen, and he needs to get rid of his brother.
Yeah.
And
so he can build a highway.
Right.
He gets a lot, he gets his influence and blah, blah, blah. So he figures like, well, the easiest way to do that is to scare the shit out of them. And so he sends his henchmen over to do that.
Yep. Which is...
Go ahead.
No, please. I rambled a ton. You go.
The way they set up Luke's heart attack and death is hilarious. It's harrowing at first, and then it's hilarious.
Right.
Because he dies on the floor of the office in these used car lots and scares the shit out of a customer who's trying to nickel and dime Kurt Russell's character out of a few dollars. They didn't kill anybody, and then...
The balance of tones wasn't quite as finessed for me. Zemeckis is he. I do begrudge a little bit to bring him up, but he is he's not John Landis, because John Landis has that way of making you laugh until you stop, and here I felt a little ping-ponged, went back and forth because it's horrifying. Then they pass by, when the couple even runs out, they pass by, Jeff, Garrett Graham, screwing some gal in the back of a station wagon.
Yeah. which happens out of nowhere. I get that they're trying to establish he's a ladies' man, but Jesus.
Yeah, there's other ways you can do that. Although he did have a very nice butt tattoo.
Yes, it was a very enjoyable butt. Yeah. I will say there is at least a decent amount of male nudity in here to balance all those boobs, and we'll get to that too.
True. Yeah, there's tons of good. Yeah, there's some good boobs, some good booties. But yeah, I mean, you get shirtless Kurt Russell. You actually get him in small like bikini briefs, practically.
Yes. Enjoyable.
Yep. He's got that little bit of that belly, a little bit of that pot belly. It's very cute.
Yep.
So it's anyway, so you get to the death of this character and the fact that they bury him, and it was interesting. On the second time it felt less dark because I kind of like that Rudy wanted to do good by Luke. You have this protagonist who works at this used car lot, and the owner kind of believes in him, and even though he's got his own selfishness, there's something about that makes Rudy sort of think like, I need to make him proud. You really realize that it's 50-50. 50 of it is he needs the money to go get his, because he's going to buy it. I mean, I love how cynically right out the gate, he's going to buy an election. That's essentially what he's doing. We don't have this guy of like, I'm going to get that money and I'm going to get my own business. I'm going to make something myself. It's like, no, I'm going to buy my way into being a senator. Like that's our hero, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. He's gonna buy his way in the Senate, and he's going to do something that he is not completely prepared to do. He doesn't have the education, the political education. He just has his used car education in a way, and he's planning on like doing corrupt things basically. Screw it, I'm gonna be in the Senate. I'm gonna buy my way in here. F everybody. That's what I want.
I love that about the character, and as I said, it's the roguish protagonist that there's a good heart, but it's underneath all the detritus.
Yep. A dirtbag in the best of ways.
Yeah, I miss dirtbags because it feels like they've either are too mean today, or the idea is like, oh, the likable dirtbag is Deadpool and he kills people horribly. Yeah. I know he's killing bad guys, and I like Deadpool, but it feels like that's become like the norm because that film was such a humongous success. And I miss something as simple as like, he wouldn't kill anybody. This guy, if Rudy accidentally killed somebody, that would change the whole tone of the movie. Yeah,
exactly. That'd be going too far.
Right.
Too far. But they can get away with taking poor old Luke and putting him in a car and giving him a eulogy and then burying him in the oil pit, right? It's the oil pit.
They bury him in the pit, and then later they pull him out and they burn him. They put a bunch of gasoline on him, and they make the car crash into the power transformer, so it explodes and catches fire. Yeah. I did like that realistically they showed that they had to put a ton of gasoline to pull that off, because that's the thing that, in movies, it's like, oh, the thing, goes up like a fireball. And it's like, no, those happen in movies because they put propane tanks in them. So, here it was more realistic.
Exactly. And they showed how hard they had to work to bury him in the first place.
They did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it literally almost lasts like a whole night, them just putting him away. Mm-hmm. It's like, everybody's all muddy at the next day when good old Royale comes over to check on them.
I did want to mention that I think you were the one who pointed out their shirts were too clean, though.
Yeah, everybody was too clean. Everybody was definitely a little bit too clean. It's like, well, gee, did the driving rainstorm just wash everybody's dirt off? Yeah, possibly, but still. I mean,
that would have to be some pretty hard rain. That would have been like hard rain that's hard enough that Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman would have, like, I don't know, tried to, overthrow a armored truck or something. Yeah.
They would have to steal it slowly instead of quickly. With Minnie Driver in the back of the car. Mm-hmm. And, So then Rudy sits there and goes, how the hell am I going to win this dog fight? He decides the best way to win this dog fight is to take these guys that he knows, get them to come in, jam the signal during a big football game, and insert a commercial.
Yep.
And that is how he starts turning around the fate of the New Deal used car lots.
Which also, yes, New Deal used cars. Fantastic use of that term.
Yeah. That works on multiple levels. It works on a lot of levels at once.
And so, now we cue Freddie and Eddie.
Yeah, Freddie and Eddie, which had to be intentional, those rhyming names.
Oh, totally.
Had to
Totally.
be, had to be, had to be, had to be. Yep. That's Michael and David. This was Michael's first location shoot, according to him.
Really?
He said it's the first time he ever went out of town for a week to go film something.
Wow.
And they filmed the whole movie on location, I think in Tempe, in Arizona.
I believe so. Let me just double check. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's mostly it's like a little bit of California, but I think, but if anything, that might have been sets that they had to have built.
Possibly.
Yeah, Mesa. Looks like Mesa,
Mesa,
Phoenix, and yeah, so mostly that area.
Yes, so that area in New Mexico is where they filmed. That was his first ever location shoot, and this is their first time. This is actually the first time in a movie where they had actual expansive speaking parts, because in 1941 they basically do nothing. They appear, and it's a cute little cameo. They get to shoot things,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get diarrhea from the stunt smoke, and everybody else on the set did.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Michael actually told the story in the AV Club interview he did. He just blurts out the story.
Oh.
Yeah. And everybody got diarrhea. That's what
Well,
the guy did.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, but coming back to used cars, I love David's whole character actor thing. He's fantastic,
Yes,
and
yes.
I love that he's sort of like speaking of the AV clubs, he's like the AV club nerd version of Squiggy.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I just think that just him standing there ranting while he's got this camera, trying to shoot this commercial, going, "I hate women. I hate women."
This is why I hate women. Yeah.
This is why I hate women.
So also you notice the gag glasses that they have. They have Garrett and this woman that they've hired. This this probably like a waitress or something. So you notice the gag glasses in Kurt Russell's hand don't match the ones they're wearing.
Nope, not at all. They had to do some pickup shots.
They did. The studio apparently was not happy with it. You can even tell the way it's edited. They're building up to that joke. And it probably would have been amazing, but I guess somebody at the studio was like, "Yeah, that's too far." This also was 1980, where you really could never show a dildo in a film, in a studio release film. You just couldn't. So
you can't do it now. You can do it all the time.
Oh yeah.
You probably get an R for it. R.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then things kind of go nuts, and it's ranting. It's wonderfly good physical comedy. Although the fact that they pretty much sexually assault the gal at the point is kind of leaves a weird taste. But again, it's this is not to defend it. It's just the sad truth is that it was the 80s. It was a different time, and so we didn't take that stuff seriously. Instead, we thought it was.
Jeff apologizing? Jeff was admitting though that it was misogynistic, and he was sorry.
That's true.
He says it several times. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. I'll take it up to you all. We'll go on a date. I'll make it up to you.
Right. Which, admittly, he probably would. He seems like he's well dressed enough, and he doesn't. If he lives at the lot, he probably has enough money saved up that he probably could pay for a pretty nice dinner. Yeah. But speaking of, hey, look, hey, this is our first moment where we get to have the kid actually say it for us, where the kid in the football uniform watching TV when this hacked ad gets blown on the airwaves, and he's like, "Hey, look, a pair of tits."
Yeah. That's disgusting. I don't want my kid looking at that.
And the husband's like trying to fight to get the remote kept in his hand, and the Landers, and Freddie's is like, all those years in film school finally paid off, and
David gets a lot of great dialogue.
He really does.
He really does. Good.
And of all of that, we get a Dick Miller sex cameo.
Yeah.
That is one reason I love this movie. Okay, he's actually boinking. I mean, he's doing so badly. His wife, girlfriend, or whatever his partner fell asleep. Yeah. So
his partner fell asleep mid-coitus, but hey,
but hey,
you can't please them all. You cannot please them all.
It's true. Yeah. Anyway, I love how it turns into total Black Friday anarchy. I mean, I was sort of thrown back to that, when they take Jim the mechanic and are like, "Hey, here's a suit, here's some sunglasses, go sell cars." It's like, I remember that.
God. Ooh, yeah. Anybody who's worked retail knows what it's like to be yanked off of this and to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Help with registers. Go do registers. Do it now. Yeah. God.
So
yeah,
we have to talk about the Toby scene.
yeah, we do. Yeah, poor little Toby. They actually fake running the dog over so
Yep.
they could get a sale. From that family who did and did not want to see tits.
Right. Yes.
Mind you, from a station wagon. But yeah.
All he wanted was for you to be happy in this car, and now he's dead.
Dad. Garrett Graham is so good.
He's so good. He absolutely destroys that scene.
Yeah, he nails it.
My note is faking dog death minus 1,000 points, but Dick Miller sex cameo plus 9,001 points.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. Yep. And so
good.
the film basically turns into this back and forth war between these two groups, and for most of the kind of episodic nature for the rest of the movie. But it's done in a way that I love, that there's not really any montages. There's no. It feels like good sketch comedy. It doesn't feel like they're just like, oh, we're gonna do a scene that goes like this, do a scene goes like this. They're again trying to do these clear scenes, and it allows all the actors to play parts again. You know, as we were saying.
Yeah.
Like Royale, you know, the villain getting this whole idea for the circus. There's a great, like, he gets to give a speech about it. You know, where use free enterprise, the American way, which has this whole like capitalism runs the world sort of thing. And he creates this whole circus for the kiddies, on his car lot with a camel.
Oh, Lord. God, everything about that and what they do is hilarious. And it's like, who would combine stripping with camels? It's so random.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Stripping, camels, burlesque, and I love that the burlesque is done just body enough that they can get away with it in public.
Yeah.
So that no one can, a cop drives by and it's like, it's indecent exposure, but it's still, within the realm of like, well, it's on their property. It's the same as like a strip club advertising.
Yep.
Yeah, this was the point I really realized. My God, I didn't pick up on it sooner. The blue collar American dream is dying in the wake of sleaze, and the only way to fight back, but it is also the only way to fight back against corporate greed.
Yep.
Was my note.
Yep. And they're trying to point out both things here. On one hand, what they're doing with all the boobs and stuff, is populist, and but it's not exactly, honest. And then meanwhile, over there, the other side of the fence, you got Royale sitting there saying, speaking out his ass about being morally correct. And he's not morally correct. We know he's not upright. He had somebody murdered.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's a double hypocrisy situation in a way.
And I also wonder if they were going for the greater, lesser evil.
Yeah. Possibly.
And then since they fight, since Royale fights back with, televising this and calling, shaming them, that's what leads to the boys once again coming back for jamming the presidential address.
Yes, indeed. And we find out that Eddie has a pacemaker that's been implanted in his chest.
Yep.
And by hand. By hand. Oh my God.
And I like that more in Fascination, Jeff's asking, like, how do you recharge the batteries in that thing? Or how do you change the batteries in that? Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's rechargeable.
Does not want to be touched. But, David just rips Michael's shirt open. And as I said, there's the tits I wanted to see. I literally said that.
Yep. That's my honey bunches.
Damn right.
But yeah, the two's banter here is great. Like, I love the exchange of we should break in at 9:03 before everyone gets too tired and tunes to the 700 Club. And Eddie goes, "Amen."
Amen. Michael has fewer lines here, but his delivery is very dry, and it's really enjoyable. David gets the showier part as Freddie, very slightly showier, but it gets the higher amount of funny lines. Because does a very good job of differentiating this character from who Squiggy might be, even though there are echoes of Squiggy in him.
Exactly.
But Michael has that very dry leading man thing going on, and you can see how he's gonna spin off and do his different thing.
Yep. It's the actor biding their time was what I kind of got out of it. You know,
Yeah.
like even the again, as they're leaving, it's like, remember, we cut in at exactly 9:03. Yeah, post meridian. What?
That was a good one. That
That's
was a
so
great
good.
line. That was a great line.
Yeah. And
We
go ahead.
have to mention Jim's incredible line about how he took a hose to a bunch of nuns.
Yes, apparently this scene was cut.
Oh my God, it really happened.
There was apparently there's something that happens here. Let me see. I will find this. Right. Zemeckis was walking across the set and he spotted two bikers hanging out with two nuns. He immediately summoned the camera crew and they shot a scene with the bikers walking up and taking hot dogs away from the nuns, and the nuns retaliated by grabbing their beers and slamming them down. Normally, production assistants pour out the beer and replace it with water, but the nuns slammed down Asheville Coors beer and promptly spit it out. Columbia executives nixed the scene because one of them was a devout Catholic. So that's apparent. So the hosing down was apparently, I suspect, was inspired by that.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I did not know that. That's fabulous.
Yep.
That's fabulous.
And as it turns out, 31 of 33 people found this interesting on IMDb. Metrics. It's the way of the future and the way to corporatize and commodify your life and existence. Join the product line because that's all that you're good for, you worthless sack of protoplasm. Sorry. Oh God, I'm sorry. Did I just suddenly spit out some corporate propaganda for a second there?
Yes, you did.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. So this leads into Barbara Jean finding out that her father is off on vacation. She does not buy this.
Yes.
She does not buy that he is in Florida. So she comes to the lot to find out what the hell's going on, and instantly takes a shine to Rudy. Rudy takes her out
to a bowling alley for drinks.
Bowling alley, which is the most him date you can think of. It is.
Yeah. I love her red dress in that scene, by the way. Yeah. I don't know if there's actual clue of like red colors leading to something tragic or unlucky in this, but I just love the way that they have her in reds or red tones throughout most of the film.
Yeah, that's nice. You know, and she just kind of serves as this harbinger of what is about to happen, his big downfall, in a way. So in the end, that works. Deborah Harmon, who plays Barbara Jane, she is definitely familiar to my generation as Elizabeth Lubbock in Just the 10 of Us, playing the matriarch. And that's probably what a lot of people know her from.
Yeah, it's another actor. I'm kind of surprised she didn't have more of a career because she was really likable. And I kind of wanted her to do more. And I'm wondering if it was just a matter of the fact that parts for women got challenging in the 80s to find the good stuff. You know, there's so many stories we've heard that basically if you weren't famous enough, you were essentially, all you got offered was trash. And a lot of trash got made in the 80s.
Yeah, because they were trying to feed the VHS market.
Exactly.
So,
yeah,
it's too bad that she didn't get to do more. That's all I gotta say. She deserved to do more.
I also love, by the way, in the scene, as we're talking about Deborah Harmon and Kurt Russell, their chemistry is amazing through this entire picture. And you see where, because Kurt is one of the best leading men to put with pretty much anybody, but he's really good with women. He's really, really good with actresses in these films. Because I love that, you know, Rudy's good side comes out, you know, because of Barbara. Like there's something about about the family, about, you know, her, you know, about Luke and about Barbara. It helps him center himself, and it also makes him too likable in the process. And so she has to stay. She can't go, like, because he's trying to get rid of her. And now it's like, you know, you really sort of like, you really touched my heart. I think I'm going to stay. And he then almost spikes. So the payoff to that moment, though, is when he almost spikes the camera. That's when you know that's a movie star about to happen.
He is very much in a blossoming state in this part of his career, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So things intensify. I love the whole scene where Rudy is desperately trying to keep Barbara Jean from finding out that the commercial is about to happen.
Right. Yeah. What
was everybody around him is... The guy comes into the stupid restaurant with a portable television set showing the president's speech.
Oh, I love that. Oh, God.
And the way his bad luck just escalates is really great.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen it, I almost don't want to even say too much just because, you know, because it's just like 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And it's like, oh, man. Yeah, and the ad that they run, I love the theme of it. I love the style of it. I love the whole, Rambo McKean on top of the white, across the street from the White House, putting up the signal jammer, or bouncing the microwave signal off the satellite.
God, exactly. The fact that they did this and did successfully, and that's how they managed to keep the everything solvent for a bit, is amazing.
Yep. And I love Garrett Graham doing the Peckinpah character.
Yeah, Garrett Graham was so great in that bit.
It's too fucking high.
Dude, shooting all these bastard deals down.
Yeah, reportedly they used real 12 gauge ammo for those shots because it was too expensive to put squibs on the glass. Which
God,
it's so fucking shit. It's fucking stupid to do. Yeah, because we're recording this shortly after the tragic shooting incident on the set of Rust with Alec Baldwin, and yeah, it's just always weird to think that there were times around this era when they would use real ammo for some of these gags. If it's a small crew, that makes sense. You lock everything down, and it's all ADR anyway, so you're just gonna add the sound in post. It's MOS, so why not? But
yeah.
Oof. But still.
Don't do that anyway. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. But it is pretty funny to have it all explode. That's right. We blew the shit out of that high price like we all to do to all fucking high prices.
Fucking high prices. I love that bit so much.
It's so good. And they just blame it. And they just blame it on the Iranians. Ayatollah. Just going after the American way of life.
Yeah. Yes, the Ayatollah. And then of course Royale just comes charging over, tries to find his brother's body, and
big fight.
Big old fight. Big old brawl.
That's a big brawl. That is the big brawl. That is an amazing fight. These types of slapstick fights often suck, and this was great. The gags were amazing. There's some good shock. This is where Zemeckis' like action or his kind of set piece directing comes in really well, where like he and his crew are trying to figure out how to make this exciting and funny. Because I think when we get too funny, it just becomes dumb, and it's like, it's okay. But when you decide to make it really good, you actually come up with something.
Because there is a certain like heavy, dirty roughness to this little fight. You actually believe that they're scrapping for their lives trying to keep him from finding out what the hell's going on. It's really fabulous. It's really good. Really well done. Really, really well done.
Yeah. And good Toby chasing off and then waking Frank up. So to see how screwed they are.
Oh yeah. Yep. And then Jim's Hail Mary there. They just get rid of Luke and blow shit up. I don't know how much those explosions cost, but man.
Oh yeah, the explosion earlier. Jesus,
yeah.
So, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to see if I can find the budget for this film because this is the kind of film that, it's still pretty cheap, like all things considered. Okay, the budget was estimated around $8 million, which now people saying, oh, wow, that's a lot of money in 1980. Do bear in mind, Heaven's Gate had not finished shooting yet at the time this was being made. And that hit 55, excuse me.
Heaven's Gate, God. Wow,
and that essentially almost single-handedly bankrupted a studio. I think it pretty much did, right? United was completely fucked after that.
Yeah. UA was fucked after that, and they had to sell it.
That's right. That's why MGM picked them up. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh God, to get bought by MGM in the '80s, no less. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. Oh, Samino.
Yeah. There's a guy who deserves a dick punch. Anyway, but yeah. The Hail Mary, the Bernie, the explosion, the Transformer, evidence, finito, big crowd scenes, big trucks, big cranes, big smokes, the wakes. The escalation of this movie is done really well. Talking about epics and scope. This starts as a small, like, practically a bubble movie, and then it expands into like a Western.
Oh yeah, the whole car cavalcade to the used car lot is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually we start in this little tiny lot, as you said. We start this just bouncing back and forth between these two lots, and then we start visiting different places within the local area. And all of a sudden, we are running out, grabbing cars, and driving them miles so BJ will not be sued to death and lose lots. I'm actually surprised that we do not see the boys again.
I am. We did
not see Freddie or Eddie driving cars, and I'm surprised they weren't employed to do this. It's possible that Michael didn't know how to drive yet.
Oh my God. Is that a thing? Did he not know how to drive by 1980?
I know that from an anecdote that David Lander told in an interview that at one point when they virtually was just starting to get successful, somewhere around 76, 77, he got in there and tried to hardball negotiate for parking spots for him and for Michael. And Michael said, "Why do I need a parking spot for? I don't know how to drive." He said, "Shut up, this is how you negotiate. This is how you get stuff."
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if he ever learned how to drive. If he, I think at some point he did, because he talked about going to England to do stuff for Spinal Tap to later on during one of the latter tours. And he talked about how he kept instinctively banking to the wrong side of the road when he was driving. So at some point he must have learned. Okay.
These are the things my girlfriend knows about an actor who is her father's age.
He's 1 month older than my father. You're welcome.
I love you, honey.
Love you too.
Anyway, so now we get to so we're going into, kind of getting around. This is now like the turn, right? This is the turn of the second act. They've lost everything. Falls apart like it does in a lot of these comedies, So Rudy is trying to even sell the bike. I'll have to think about it. And the kids are like, yeah, he's an asshole. And it's like, yeah, don't think too long. There was a 9th grader that was really looking at it. Yeah, we got the whole thing with the money and the timetable politics and oh God.
Yeah.
And and I love the symbol of how he's getting the phone call about the the idea is basically finally the members of the quote unquote party, the political party, are calling him while the fire on the grill, Jim's doing is grilling like hot dogs or hamburgers or something for the 3 guys. And suddenly it like basically just catches fire and all the food is, and so all this chaos is happening behind him. And it's kind of like saying, I felt it was almost like, I was wondering if like it's politics are keeping you away from the community or keeping you from the struggles at home in a way. And it's like he's not thinking about the little man, Either that or it's the Pope and the pool thing, which that's a concept in it's screen. If anyone out there doesn't know what that is a screenwriting concept. I'm sure Lisa here is familiar with it.
Yes, I'm familiar with it. I don't know what's going on. Like it's like they have to get him back to the used car lot, even though he has gotten everything he wanted apparently in becoming a politician.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to figure out a way to drag him back, and it is BJ getting in trouble there.
Mm-hmm. Right, which is specifically, Royale, essentially making his niece look like she said false stuff. I love how innocent of a time this was that you lied on television with false advertising. We're going to give you a 1.5 years in prison because we got Grandpa Munster to officiate, to be the judge of your case. And it's like, when we think of what even small companies locally and regionally do today, that's cute.
Yeah, it's almost precious. It's really precious because considering what you can get away with now. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jeff,
but so go ahead.
Jeff, ultimate bro move, giving the money for poor little Rudy and doing all that he can to get rid of his luck. Umbrellas, salts, broken mirrors, the works. That was just wanted to make sure to point that out.
Yeah, that was sweet. That was sweet. He does the ultimate bro move by actually getting into a red car. Actually getting into a red car and driving it.
And
jumping it. Jumping the damn thing.
Yes. Okay. If you're someone at home who has not seen this movie and you're saying to yourself, okay, they're talking about a movie that sounds like a car exploitation movie. Did they have the budget for a ramp? Oh yeah, they had money for a ramp. They had money for a ramp stunt. Hell yeah.
There was darn ramp stunt. There was train. Speeding train.
It's about that time the old Jeff boys done thinking that shit. Maybe this whole luck thing ain't for me.
I actually did indeed make a Dukes of Hazzard joke when we were watching it. Well, then dang old Duke boys decided it wasn't worth scamming the people no more.
Oh God.
Southern Fried Gold.
Oh my gosh. It's yeah. The whole third act, everything all sort of colliding together. I mean, it's a wild ride for that third act. I mean, it is the scope jumps. It turns into. I like how I think Zemeckis just called it like Red River, and I say it's Red River meets Vanishing Point. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
You know.
I love it when Royale and Rudy are fighting it out on top of two dueling cars. And then Rudy goes through the top of somebody's car with the kids. Cause they got a bunch of kids from the high school.
Right. They need to learn.
Courses.
Yeah. They need to learn to drive, and they need to have 250 cars. They need to move to their lot.
Perfectly foolproof solution, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy Jo Sperber, who was in Bosom Buddies, portrays Nona in this segment of the movie. She's the one who is afraid to drive. She's afraid she's gonna fail. Did I pass? See, that's her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I love her. Rest in peace. She was marvelous. She was absolutely marvelous. You actually, Betty Thomas portrayed Bunny, by the way, in this movie. That was Betty Thomas. Director Betty Thomas.
Wow. That's unexpected.
Yeah. That was her.
Interesting.
That was her.
Goodness gracious.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's a TIL, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to drop that in there before we kept going.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
No,
go ahead.
We get this really, really, really cool car chase. Everybody's trying to get the cars there. We think we're never going to get the last car in. And Jeff overcomes his fears and gets that last car there. And they win.
Yeah. And they win by 2 inches. That happens because someone slams their hand on the car and it drops the license plate over the gas cap.
Yep.
And is the gas cap or the lock on the trunk, I guess? It's one of those two.
It was lock on the trunk.
Yeah.
They win.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rudy tries to quietly persuade BJ into selling cars his way. She kind of does it his way. So, with a slight suggestion that he will be corrupting her and he's going to stay there and keep corrupting others. And
yeah, it's what he do.
It's a happy ending that's kind of dark if you really think about it hard enough.
Yeah, but that's a lot of these 80s comedies, to be honest.
Yeah, to be real, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a fun ride. It's a good story. It's enjoyable in this. I say it's a good story in the sense that I really like the little bits of layers and the little bits of communication. There's the way it's portrayed and directed. There's some wonderful character moments throughout. Like something as small as like the evil judge played by Al Lewis. He has all these toys of execution gear, guillotine and gallows and and stocks and stuff like that on essentially in the courtroom on his desk, like toys.
Yeah.
And like this, something like that. There is the moment when Kurt Russell runs in the courtroom, and this is before BJ realizes that he's there to save her, and she's scared. But he has this puppy dog look of I screwed up and I'm here to make it right that he has on his face. Like that is so like character moment between that is cinema to me.
Yes. Yes, poetic cinema.
It is. Yes, cinema. It is. It's no Louis Malle or Jean-Pierre Melville or Yasujiro Ozu, but Zemeckis is all right. He's okay. He did a good movie. Yeah. It's not a good film.
It's a perfectly rockin' comedy. It's a good comedy. You can never enjoy the comedy.
So, I guess, yeah. All right. So before I forget, because we're winding down, I want to make sure I cover the story of how the movie was crafted and what happened at its release. Do you know the story of how this film came to be?
Gosh. I know that he was writing 1941 at the time he was given the idea. And I do believe the idea came from Steven Spielberg.
Yes, it came from Spielberg and John Milius, which the shooting the cars is very John Milius. So I definitely think that had something to do with it. But it was basically Milius was telling Gale and Zemeckis about this idea and sort of saying, we don't have the time for it. You want to do it? That's kind of the gist of it. And so that's how that got set up. The interesting other part, apparently, according to Zemeckis on commentary tracks and interviews, the reason it was financed at and put together at Columbia as a distributor who helped fund the money, because it was made through Amblin originally.
Yes.
Was that it was passed on, it looks like, by Universal, but one of the big shots at Columbia had been a used car salesman. And when hearing some of the concept of the movie, apparently said, "Oh, I totally remember that. I remember that very much." And sort of like, that's a great idea. Making a dark comedy about those guys? Yeah. Absolutely. And so that was part of the reason it got set up there. The interesting thing is, though, so the shoot pretty much goes by without too much of a hitch for the most part. There's always challenges on a film set. That always happens. But anyway, they test the film. They finally ready to just start getting it tested. And it goes through the roof. It blows the ceiling off. People love it. It is apparently, at the time, was reported to have been the highest tested Columbia picture in the studio's history. And it maintained that for another 10 or 15 years.
Wow.
And the problem is, it was slated for a mid to late August launch in 1980. They decide to move it up into middle of July 1980. It comes out the same week as Airplane.
Ooh, and they get pounded right in the ground.
And they also, because of the time shift, they weren't able to change the marketing in time, which meant that they didn't have as wide of a campaign, and they could not secure as many theaters, so it opened on less screens. It dies on the vine and disappears until video.
Yeah, and cable.
And then becomes a cult classic. So, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So that's the interesting ups and downs of, I guess, the kind of the sort of overview that I've read about the making of this movie. It's very interesting.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Is it absolutely fascinating? Are there werewolves involved?
Fascinating. Werewolf. Where's the werewolf?
The werewolf? No, where? Where?
Werewolves. Where's the werewolf?
But yeah.
God.
But anyways, there's tons of other little stuff to talk about, but we've gabbed for a good long time about this, and it's a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It's a great kind of first real feature. It was the first major studio picture for Zemeckis, and it's got some great turns. If you are a Kurt Russell fan and haven't seen this, you really owe it to yourself to see it. If you like David and Michael, definitely worth seeing for them. It's a small part, but they're a lot of fun. I think calling this in many ways sort of an R-rated, it is in some ways an R-rated movie of if you took the mindset of Lenny and Squiggy and made a movie out of that.
Yes, that's a fabulous way to put it.
Yeah. So if you're a Laverne and Shirley fan following us for night after night and you're thinking to yourself, used cars, is it for me? Probably.
Yeah. You'll probably enjoy it. Not even on a I'll get to see Michael and David lovely. You're gonna enjoy it for the humor. You're gonna enjoy it for it's sensibility. You're gonna enjoy it for the sensibility.
Exactly.
I really think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That is ranking time. I'm giving this a solid 7.5. It's a bit rough around the edges, but it's good.
This is about a 7 for me. This is a darn good film. It's not perfect. It's very much a booby 80s comedy.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways. The satire is worth it. The dialogue is very sharp. There's a lot of great stunt work. There's a lot of great work with, there's a lot of great little moments. The directing is fabulous too. So really, honestly, it's really great. It's very worth watching.
Awesome. Cool. And with that, we're just going to do a quick, on the podcast version, we'll be doing a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll be getting back to our wrap up and where you can find us and learn more. Hopefully you'll stick around, for we have other things to say. Thank you so much. Yes. All right. And with that, thank you so much for joining us for Night After Night. We'll hold you in our arms on Night After Night PC on Twitter, or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, WordPress, Patreon, YouTube, and wherever podcasts may be found. It's a very good time. If you are into David and Michael Lander as character actors, then we highly recommend you try Laverne and Shirley. And if you are a fan of used cars, what other films would you recommend in this vein, actually?
Actually, It's actually an interesting point. I'm curious to see what, if anything, anybody would say about that. Please do give us some comments. Direct me to
Yeah, there you go. But you got some comments? Go leave them down below. We did do it on the YouTubes, or you can reach us at nightafternightpod@gmail.com for direct line emails. We're mostly active on the Twitter page, by the way.
Yes. We have Facebook, we have Tumblr, we have everything else, but we're mostly active on Twitter.
Exactly, right. It's yeah. I try to keep up with the queue, but it's been a very wild year.
Oh yeah.
So we did these as special one-off episodes, so I don't know when this one's actually going to be going out. We recorded this in the middle of November, so for all I know, this might be out in February. For all the hell I know,
possibly.
Yeah. So we do really like doing the special episodes, though. These are nice. What do you think?
Yeah. I'd say we're good. So down the line, we'll be doing more once we get in on milestones and junk.
Yeah.
I do believe.
You must believe in this.
We do things like watch-alongs. We do all kinds of things like that. We are very active within the community. So come and join us. Come embrace us.
Anywho, yeah. So whatever comes next, we just hope that you'll join us for it. And hopefully future me has chopped out anything either too offensive or too weird. And yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to say, my darling lady love?
Not a darn thing. Watch this film. Watch this film. Watch. Let me think. I wouldn't recommend you watch Imps because Jesus. Watch Imps if you like Kentucky Fried Movie. I will say that. And don't mind watching them play Nazis because that happens in that movie. I think that if you want to go from here, the only other Pandemonium, 1982, also starring Carol Kane. It is a parody of horror movies, and it has the same kind of snarky little tone. So,
oh my god! And it's got Phil Hartman and Paul Rubens.
Yes, it does.
Whoa!
Back when Phil and Paul were actually talking to each other. They stopped. I don't know if they made up before he died.
Oh wow! And Eileen Brennan. Aww.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. From just Michael alone, Clue, probably. If you like this, you'll probably like Clue. Same kind of black humor, same kind of snark. There you go. There's my recommendations. I knew I'd come up with them for 2 seconds.
And if you like Kurt Russell in a comedy, then watch Executive Decision. Oh wait, that's only because I just laugh hysterically whenever Steven Seagal dies in the middle point of the movie. Anyway.
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, sorry, more nerd tangents. Anyways, see, this is what happens when I get to hold the reins for too long on this podcast. This is why Lisa is the true guide.
The Pathfinder.
Yeah, thank you.
I am the.
I don't know about Pathfinder. I'm more of a Dungeons and Dragons guy. Anyway.
There you go. Anyway.
All right.
Anyway,
cool.
Okay.
We'll see you next time, folks.
We'll see y'all soon. Make sure to kick the tires before you buy the car.
And also, Toby's the best.
Yeah, Toby's the best. Adopt Toby!
We love you, Toby!
Toby!
Toby for president. Toby for senate.
Yeah.
The hell with Rudy.
No, with Rudy. Yeah, who wants to elect him? We can elect a dog.
Yeah, we can elect a dog. Yeah, it'd be much better than that. He knows which type of screwdriver we need to fix the economy.
There you go. Perfect.
And we leave you with that. Good night, folks.
Bye-bye.
I like you.